Welcome to part 2 for my series I'm doing here on my channel talking about why people join MLMs. And today we're going to be talking about stay-at-home moms. A little disclaimer, I am going to be specifically talking about stay-at-home moms. I know that women are not the only people that can be stay-at-home parents. That's not what this video is about. I'm talking about how MLMs target specifically stay-at-home moms, you know, despite the fact that they're more than just moms that are stay-at-home parents. So a little disclaimer on that. As always, I am not the end-all be-all. You don't have to take my word for anything because I'm not certified in any of the stuff I'm talking about. So am I even really credible? Probably not. But I am just taking information from what I believe to be credible sources and providing the information to you. I try my best to gather information from the most credible resources that I can, but again, I'm just looking them up online, but I do some research. I do some research when it comes to these videos, and you know, as I go along, I'm gonna continue to grow and to continue to learn, and I'm gonna continue to get better at this type of video, I guess I would say. Another disclaimer, I am not bashing stay-at-home moms at all. I think if you're a stay-at-home mom, that is freaking cool, dope as heck, because we all know stay-at-home moms, they are consistently working 365 days a year, 24 hours in a day. You know, they don't get paid time off, they don't get sick days, whatever. Like, you are always there, you're always a mom, and I think it's a full-time job. It really is. So I have to applaud stay-at-home moms, because I would never be able to do that. I would probably go insane. I already am going insane staying at my house for more than like 2 weeks. So we're on like month number 2 now. So going crazy. But if you guys don't know, I'm used to being crazy, staying locked in, as I am an online student. So this is nothing new to me. But, and something that I really want to point out before we get into the video, and something that bugs me that we'll kind of talk about later on, is that being a stay-at-home mom is not your definitive characteristic. You know, just because you are a stay-at-home mom, that doesn't define you as a person. You know, every person has their own, you know, characteristics and traits and, you know, their own personality and stuff like that. And I think when you're a mom, people kind of overlook that because you have a kid and it seems like your kid is your personality, right? Or how you raise your kid is your personality or not. And I really want to emphasize, you know, throughout this video that that is not the case. I personally don't think that. So I really want to say, if you're a stay-at-home mom or just like a mom in general, because I feel like moms can kind of get lost in the word mom, I want to say, because everyone just says like, oh, mom, blah, 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 blah. So I really want to emphasize that if you know a stay-at-home mom, or you know, if you are one or anything like that, I would highly encourage people to try to talk to them as a person rather than like you're a mom, right? Because if you were friends with someone who was a mom before, you know, they had kids, I really want to emphasize that, you know, you should talk to them how you would have normally talked to them. Like, everything doesn't have to be about their kids all the time. And that's something that always bugs me about people that talk to new moms or stay-at-home moms. It's just like everything is about like their newborn, or everything is about their kid. And I really want to emphasize that that doesn't have to be the case. They were people before they had their children. So yeah, just talk to them like people. Don't talk to them like their only interesting thing about them is that they're mom. You know, they have stuff going on in their life too. Just talk to them normal. Yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. So I'm going to be going through 4 specific talking points about how MLMs or multi-level marketing target stay-at-home moms. So first one I want to talk about is how moms can, or any parent, I guess, for that matter, can often feel a sense of guilt if they're away from their kid for a long period of time, you know? If they work long hours or work at inconvenient times to where it won't match up to your kid's schedule, whatever it may be. I know it's very common for especially new parents to feel guilty or to feel bad if they are not with their kids, you know, every day, which is totally understandable. So for an idea like multi-level marketing, being able to work, still make an income, you know, work from your home, be around your kids, and to just watch them grow up and to be there for every moment, it sounds attractive, right? And as for people who are already stay-at-home moms, you know, who might be looking for another sense of purpose, who might be looking for, you know, something else to do that is outside from being around their kids all the time, or something that doesn't involve them changing their schedule drastically, multi-level marketing will kind of give them the opportunity to do so. So it sounds attractive for them to pursue multi-level marketing. So I want to read this Reddit post that will show just an example about what I'm talking about. The title of this is, "My mom called me last night to talk about her newest MLM. This is the fourth one, some magic pill that gives you energy and cures everything. Some snake oil. We have had crying, screaming arguments about this pyramid scheme crap. I have walked her through recognizing the signs of an MLM. I have shown her all the data available on how these scams work. She hasn't turned any profit on any of them. And yet here we are again. What do I do? What do I say at this point? She's coming over today, and I know she's going to be talking a mile a minute, all excited about her new business opportunity. I know a lot of people come to this sub to laugh at Karens who fall for these scams, but all I feel is pity." Which, again, I don't really agree. Like I kind of mentioned in some of my videos, I don't really agree with like the making fun part, which is why I'm more anti-scam than like the anti-people that are in MLMs. And, you know, I just use people that are in MLMs as examples for, you know, my opinions. Yeah, I kind of agree with her when she says this. "My mom has worked a minimum of 2 jobs my entire life, and at 50, she is still working 2 jobs, 6 days a week, and buried in debt, looking for any way out. She is the most vulnerable, susceptible person to this MLM bullshit. And I no longer know how to help her. I don't know if I came here for advice or just support, but man, this sucks." Something I want to point out in that Reddit post too is that, I mean, honestly, like my heart goes out to her because I know what it's like to have like screaming matches, like screaming arguments with your mom. So I understand how difficult it is to have conversations like that with your mom when you have your best intentions at heart and she doesn't see the light of it. She doesn't see your point and you guys can't meet in the middle. You guys have different opinions and you know that you have different opinions and you're trying to make it work and you're trying to find a common ground. So I understand like how difficult it may be for her, especially because like it seems like she doesn't live with her mom, so the relationship is already a little different than if you were to be living with your mom. But yeah, I understand how difficult it may be, and I would hate for their relationship to be altered or to take a negative toll because of how these MLMs have her convinced that it's not a scam, you know what I mean? I think that is just a really good example of what we're going to be talking about today, and about how, you know, she was saying like how her mom is working 2 jobs and is still working 2 jobs, you know, trying to make ends meet despite the fact that she works for an MLM. Like she's worked for 4, so you would have think that she would have either been convinced that multi-level marketing doesn't work for her, or would be convinced that she would have had money by now, and then that would have probably led her to believe that multi-level marketing doesn't work, considering she's been in 4. But yeah, so there are many benefits for being a stay-at-home mom. You know, you get to be with your kids all the time if you desire that, and you get to be their direct line of help if they need you, nurture them closely, you know. But there are also very major setbacks. Not major, but there are some setbacks to being a stay-at-home mom. From this article from metroparent.com, they talk about stay-at-home moms, how they can often get very, very sad, even depressed or angry. And they talk about how many adults aren't prepared for the immense amount of change in their lives that a child can bring. When someone has a baby in our culture or even adopts a child, they can lose status, income, friends, and the life they knew they were used to. I think that is so true, because they do a lot of work, and I feel sometimes they can feel underappreciated because of the amount of work that they do, because like I said, they work 365 days a year. It's a full-time job, right? It's a lot of work. They may be missing a sense of accomplishment, a lack of appreciation. They feel underappreciated, right? With that being said, I think a lot of moms too kind of like having a job that's away from their kids. Not saying that they hate their kids or not, but I think it's important to distinguish that work and home life separation. And I'm not saying that if you are a stay-at-home mom or if you work from home, that is not possible, because it totally is possible. But the point I want to get across is that when you're in an MLM, it's very difficult to do so, because your MLM becomes your entire life. So in this article from the HuffingtonPost.com, they talk about the reunion and how it makes you feel thankful. Depending on how much time you spend away from your kids and your personality type, you might not miss your kids at all, or even miss them a ton. Either way, the reunion is grand. You look at each other anew and focus on all the things you love about each other. And I think that's really important to point out and to kind of lead into our next topic, our next point, because I truly agree with that. I think sometimes it takes, missing someone just a little bit to allow you to love them a whole lot more, to appreciate them a whole lot more. I know for me, when Tanner's gone for hours and hours at work and I'm just sitting here like waiting, it makes me appreciate when he comes home and when we can have that time together. So kind of as mentioned earlier, I think it's important to have some sort of separation from your kids, whether you love them to death, because I know parents love their kids to death. That doesn't mean you can't have some time away from them, right? That's why people get babysitters, so they can go out and like be away from their kids, because after a while you just want to get away from your kids for a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. I really want to emphasize the fact that if you are not with your kids, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you're not going to damage them, okay? They're not going to be taking a huge toll in their life because you weren't with them every second of every day. I think there's really such a false perception on, just media in general, that, it's like a constant, like, if you are a stay-at-home mom, then you're spending too much time with your kids. But if you work away from home, then you're not spending enough time with your kids. So I think it's really important to find a balance if you fall into one of those categories, because yes, it's important to spend time with your family, but there is such a thing as you can spend too much time with your family. Yeah, and media can kind of convince you that you're a bad mom if you don't spend every second with them. And more specifically, MLMs kind of portray that you're a bad mom if you don't work from home, right? I really want to emphasize that there's a difference between being a mom that has to work and has to be away from their kids for some amount of time, but has their best intentions at heart, and being an absent mother and an absent figure in your child's life and choosing never to be around them. There is a big, big difference, and If you fall into the category of you have to work because you just have to and you really miss your kids and you want to be around them or whatever, you're not being an absent figure in their life on purpose with, bad intentions in mind. So I think what really matters is the intentions balance when it comes to stuff like this. So yes, it is important to be there for your kids, but don't let an MLM convince you that you're a bad parent if you're not there for them all the time. Some stay-at-home moms too can often feel like a burnout when, like I said, when you're just home all the time and there's just like nothing else to do but to just be around your kid, only hear conversations with your children, stuff like that, and constantly doing work, constantly feeding them, changing them, trying to get them to fall asleep, stuff like that. You can feel a burnout, and that's totally normal. And I think it's important to talk again with moms as a person and let them know that what they're feeling is normal and that it's okay and that it'll pass, and to encourage them healthy ways to kind of cope with that burnout and to kind of heal it themselves rather than taking it out on their kids, which we'll get into further on in the video. So there's this article from the Washington Post that talks about quality over quantity, and they're talking about how quality time with your kids are actually more important than quantity, like the amount of time you spend with your kids. It appears the sheer amount of time parents spend with their kids between the ages of 3 and 11 have virtually no relationship to how children turn out, and a minimal effect on adolescence, according to the first large-scale longitudinal study of parent time to be published in April. MLMs kind of have people convinced that the only way for you to be a present figure in your children's life or to have that quality time, despite the fact that they have you convinced that quantity time is more effective, when actually it proves that there's no correlation to you being around your kids more to, how it affects them growing up. But MLMs have you convinced that the only way for you to get any time with your kids at all is if you join their MLM, because you get to stay home. So I have this post, and it's from Anti-MLM Boss Babe. Just a great Instagram account if you want to follow. Just a fair warning, I'm not going to show the picture because it is a picture of an Instagram post that someone in Arbonne made, but I'm not going to be showing the picture. I'm just going to be showing you the caption. But just as a reference, the picture is of her kid in the hospital bed, has a hospital gown, has IVs and a bunch of wires attached to him, like the oxygen thing. I don't even know what it's called. But he has all this stuff attached to him, right? And just a little fair warning, it's a little disturbing to hear this story, but I think it kind of plays well into what we're going to be talking about. This picture is really hard for me to look at. This was one of the hardest weeks I've ever endured in my entire life. For the first time as a mother, I was truly brought to my knees, not having any control and not knowing what was ahead. Last Sunday, blank, the name of her kid, came down with a fever, had no other symptoms. Took him to urgent care. They tested him for everything, and everything came back negative. Tested him for COVID-19 and had to wait. Fever got all the way up to 105. Couldn't figure out what it was. Took him back because he started dry heaving and still couldn't figure it out. The doctor we saw at urgent care was kind enough to call and check on blank and told him that we need to take him to blank hospital, where he was diagnosed with Kawasaki disease and put in the ICU. We don't know how or why this happened, and it was so scary. He's doing better now, thank God, and should make a full recovery. His heart has to be checked now regularly and for the rest of his life. While this was all going on, I got to experience something life-changing. The gift of time Yeah, the gift of time leveraging. While I was enduring this pain, my business grew. I woke up today and we were in National Vice President qualification. That is the very top of Arbonne. I could have crawled into a hole, and I wanted to, but what I realized is we have zero clue what will happen tomorrow. I've never been so grateful for this gift I have in this business than I was last week. We blew past the bare minimum and moved mountains. I'm so thankful for every single person in my team. Thank you for showing me what's possible and helping me move mountains. Love you all so much and can't wait to see how many people we serve this month as we finish like no other. Pandemics will pass, but my business will be my... probably something stupid. I have seen a lot of posts throughout my life. This might be the worst one yet. It just might be. There's so many things I have wrong with this. Number one, already posting a picture of your child without their consent, which I kind of have like my own opinion on that, but already posting a child without their consent, so vulnerable in the hospital, you know, he's asleep, you know, you can do what you want, you can post what you want, but already posting a picture like that is kind of a red flag to me, because the next picture, there's two pictures. The first picture is a picture of the son in the hospital, and then the next picture is her with her team in the Arbonne headquarters. I'm not even kidding. That's what the second picture is. I remember it clear as day, and it was absolutely horrific. I cannot believe, number two, how she made that connection and how she had the nerve, the mother freaking nerve to tell people that she had the chance to be there for her son when this unexpected, super sad, horrific thing happened. She was able to be there for her son because of her Arbonne business. And not only that, but while this was happening, her business was booming and her business was like thriving. Like, how far gone do you have to be? That is so disgusting to me. And this shows a perfect example of how people in MLMs, especially stay-at-home moms that are in MLMs, have a very difficult time separating their work life and their home life, because if she wanted to post that picture of her son in the hospital and talk about how, you know, talk about the experience and how it was scary, blah, 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 and just give like a life update, that would have been totally fine, you know, that would have been whatever. And she could have done that. That would have been a post about her home life or whatever, her own personal life. But the fact she had to go an extra step, the extra mile, to make the connection that her child going through this terrible thing and going through all these tests and stuff, the fact that she had to make that connection with her Arbonne business, like, it makes me feel bad for that kid. If I was her son and I saw that my mom posted that, if you saw that your mom, you're in the hospital, right? You just went through all these tests. You thought, your family thought that you had freaking COVID-19. So scary. You're in a pandemic. You're going through, you're in urgent care. The doctor tells you to go to ICU, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is going on right now during a pandemic, and your mom thinks it's okay to post about that and tell people that her Arbonne business allowed her to be there for you. I'm like, first of all, you're on your phone making this connection at all. Why don't you spend more time with me? It's mind-boggling. I don't understand. This is one of the worst posts I've ever seen, and we've seen a lot. We have seen a lot. This is a Facebook thing, and it says, "Hi friends, I'm having an open house this Friday. I have decided to let my LuLaRoe business go so that I can spend more time with my family. I will be selling items at a discount. I'm hoping to have everything gone in the next 2 weeks. Come and help me get rid of it. Please DM me for my address, personal message me for my address and stuff. So I just thought it was funny because isn't the whole point of you joining an MLM so that you can spend more time with your family? But anyways, you know, moms or just like any adult figure, they have an impression on children and younger people, right? In the Washington Post they did another study, and it says, we found consistently that mothers' distress is related to poor outcomes from their children, including behavioral and emotional problems and even lower math scores. So another common trait for stay-at-home moms, and I see this often, is that they can often feel like they're not a contributing member of society. And this can tend to lead them to feel isolated, underappreciated, and long for interaction outside of their kids, right? This normal human interaction that doesn't involve having conversations with their children. So I have the definition of social isolation. Social isolation is a state of complete/near complete lack of contact between an individual and society. Kind of like what this pandemic is doing to a lot of us. It can often lead to feeling sad, resentful, fearful of others, or develop negative self-esteem. Another part in this Metro Parent article, it says working moms get to be real people with interests and skills and relationships outside of the home. A stay-at-home mom must work hard to maintain relationships that aren't about being a mom, because that's what her life is focused on. But when you are a stay-at-home mom, you may be looking for a way to get any form of social interaction. And when someone, you know, really pretty and like really nice approaches you and tells you that you'll be able to succeed in this business and that you don't need to have any experience and that you can do it just from your house, blah, blah, blah. There's no interview, there's no hiring process. It's kind of just like a easy way into getting some money. Try not to use the get rich quick scheme, but that's kind of what they're telling you. When someone's telling you all of this grand stuff, you might just take the bait, you know, you want to take that bait. So we have another example, and this is another Reddit post. So this girl is talking about how her mom started selling Norwex. And if you don't know what Norwex is, it's another MLM company. They sell like towels or something, microfiber towels. The way she describes these things, I get that they're just microfiber towels and you can save a ton of money on cleaning products. But honestly, the price you pay for one rag, you could have bought a whole pack of microfiber rags from the dollar store and plenty of cleaning products. I think the ploy for her was that she doesn't have any friends and she sees these women on Facebook Live that showed the illusion of a happy life with a nice family and tons of people talking to her in the comments and appeared to look just like the other woman. Happy, successful, and nice family. But I hate that she's getting sucked into something like this. She's the typical middle-aged woman, works at a bank, bored, comes home and cooks, etc. Everyone in the immediate family voices that they think these rags are overpriced and ridiculous. But what do you even say to her? She looks up to all these women on Facebook Live who do MLM, and I think she wants to be like them in a sense. When she recently started selling them, that was the first time I'd ever even heard of these things. She doesn't understand that you don't need to spend that much on cleaning supplies. These women have had her believing these rags are magic and all you need is water. LOL. I just don't want her spending all of her money on this stuff and ending up as not being able to sell any of it as any MLM goes. So as you see, that's a perfect example about how this perception kind of had her mom convinced that she was able to kind of gain a community in a sense through this MLM. I think it's really sad that people manipulate that and people take advantage of people's longing for a community or friendship or sisterhood or whatever. I think it's really gross that people take advantage of that because especially at stay-at-home moms, they are kind of can tend to feel like that more often, considering the fact that they are just, home with their kids a lot, and they don't really have a whole lot of time to interact with other people. We have another example, and this is actually from a documentary on YouTube. It's by Vice, and it's about LuLaRoe, which is another MLM, but I'm just going to be showing one part in there talking about why this woman joined an MLM. She is also a mom, a stay-at-home mom. So here's the clip.
LuLaRoe marketed themselves as a family-oriented company and would be an opportunity for part-time work for full-time pay. The idea of making your own schedule and making new friends through social media attracted many moms like Roberta. Despite her husband's doubts, she found a team and paid close to $7,000 for her first package.
I didn't have friends because my daughter was so young and I was stuck at home. And then instantly I had this huge network of women who just wanted nothing but the best for me. They became like sisters. Every single time anything good happened, I had an entire brigade of women behind me that were like, "Go you!" And I was like, yes. And it felt amazing.
So kind of how we can see in that clip and, our previous story, our Reddit post, I feel like this is why, and kind of leading in back to my last video, the FOMO effect, which if you guys haven't watched that, go watch it. That one is really interesting as well. Kind of talks about how the fear of missing out leads people to believe that being in multi-level marketing will help them be more involved in society. But kind of leading into FOMO, I think that's why these people kind of overly exaggerate how good their life is and try to portray it as the extravagant lifestyle that you could possibly have, right? It's the best lifestyle that anyone could have. Yeah, so I think that's why most people kind of make posts like that, living, their best life or living lavishly, whatever it may be. I think that's why they kind of talk about that stuff, because for people that are impressionable or for people that are vulnerable enough to believe it, they can kind of fall into the trap and take the bait and feel like they can kind of be like that too, and feel like they can pursue that business and that opportunity because they have the strive to do so, because they don't want to miss out on the opportunity that it has and that it can do for them in their life. Further in that LuLaRoe documentary, Roberta's daughter actually talks, it's a brief moment, but she talks and she says how her mom was always in the basement doing her LuLaRoe stuff and how she was always just like away from her, and so she had to like spend all of her time with her dad or whatever. And that kind of leads into my last point, talking about what it really means to be in this business and being a stay-at-home mom. So we all know and we all love to hear that being on our phones and being around technology is bad for us, blah blah blah, whatever, subscribe to my channel. We all get that, we all understand it, we've all heard it before. And that already is kind of a good example as to why we shouldn't be in multi-level marketing, why no one should really do multi-level marketing, because yeah, we are all on our phones all the time, whatever, for like if we have social media or whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we should, and two, that doesn't also mean that we want to be. We're just bored and really have nothing else to do, so just being on our phone is the next best thing to being bored. With multi-level marketing, it calls for you to be on your phone more than you already are, so not good. It's important to like distinguish a barrier and to like set boundaries when we are involved with technology and stuff. I know for me, it takes me deleting stuff in order for me to set that boundary and to set the barrier that I need, be able to just be away from technology at all. I really only do YouTube now. But with multi-level marketing, the job kind of requires you to shred that barrier, and your work becomes your entire life, and it just seeps into all of the other traits in your life, which again, it doesn't happen for everybody, but it is very common And I think it's really important to set barriers, especially when it comes to technology. This is our last Reddit post. This is about another stay-at-home mom. So it says, so my mom has been buying from LuLaRoe, Paparazzi, and it works for a while now. I found out that LuLaRoe was a pyramid scheme / MLM scam a while ago. I told her about it. She didn't mind because she was only buying and not participating. Fine. She recently found Paparazzi a little less than a year ago and personally knows one of the ladies that does one of those stupid live shows auctioning off the jewelry. Somehow this woman got my mom roped into it. I refused to help her with it. She's asked me to help her print out the number labels, set up the camera, etc. because I knew from the start that it was a pyramid scheme. My dad is encouraging her even though she's bankrupt and almost in debt. And yeah, it says almost out of debt, so I think they just messed up there. She has already bought the $99 starter kit thing, and to my knowledge, she sold most of it. She then bought some more products from them to sell off, spending all of the profit she made from the starter jewelry and a bit of her own money. I warned her time and time again, and she won't listen. So this is another example, and we will probably talk about this in another video. I'm talking about like brainwashing, kind of occult tactics that they utilize in these multi-level marketing companies. As we can see there, her mom really, in order to be roped into or buy products from a lot of these MLMs, it takes a lot of time for being online, considering that the only way to buy these products are online. They're not in stores. The only way to buy MLM products are through other people and through, you know, direct distributors and consultants and stuff. So it takes a hefty amount of being online in order to see all these different MLMs and to see their products. So kind of as I mentioned earlier, children are very impressionable. Whatever an adult does, a child may see that, you know, take that, and it'll kind of go into their developmental mind. It will change their perception on things, right? You know, monkey see, monkey do, especially when it comes to children. That's how it works. Monkey see, monkey do. When parents are consistently on their phone, it only convinces them and allows their children to believe that it's okay for them to be constantly on technology or their phones or whatever, which is why we always have to say, you know, don't blame the kids, blame the parents, because those are the people that raise them. From this article about, you know, how parents are on their phones and how it can affect children negatively, this is from Psychology Today. And it says, like other forms of maternal withdrawal and unresponsiveness, mobile device use can have a negative impact on infant social emotional functioning and parent-child interactions. Children can also feel neglected and that they have to compete for their parents' attention, which that stuff like sticks with you your entire life. You know, everything throughout your childhood will factor into your life growing up. We have another video, and this is actually a very horrific video as well. So if you are triggered by verbal abuse or, you know, parents yelling at their kids or anything like that, then I would highly encourage you to skip this part. But this is from a Monate consultant. She does this and uploads it too, mind you. She uploaded this herself, and because she led herself to believe that this is just her showing her real life and to allow her to build a relationship and connection, be able to relate to people who are also moms.
Happy Friday. Happy homeschooling day. Are any of you, is anyone here surviving this? Today's dry shampoo day.
my! I am doing a video. Get out!
Is anyone here surviving this? I thought it'd be smart to do more IGTV videos. The pixels to help regrow.
Why is it?
It has.
Ah!
Can you get out? Dude, I'm trying to take a video. Get out. I really do love them, I promise.
So I know
I'm not-
that that was just a very mild case of verbal abuse, but in my eyes, I still think that's verbal abuse. He's just asking for help for his homework, and she's yelling at him because she's filming a video. Why didn't she just re-film it? Why couldn't she film it after she helped her kid out? Like, if the whole point of you being a stay-at-home mom is so that you can help your kid. Wow. I really can't. It's absolutely horrific. I actually looked up the definition of verbal abuse. The act of forcefully criticizing, insulting, or denouncing another person. Characterized by underlining anger or hostility, it is a destructive form of communication intended to harm the self-concept of the other person and produce negative emotions. We don't know what's going on in that woman's life, but whatever it may be, that is on her, right? How she decides to deal with it is on her and stuff. But to take it out on your kid, like, for her, making that video for Monet was more important than helping her kid out with his homework. That shies will follow with that kid all of his life. Because now he's gonna feel that he's a burden and that he can't talk to his mom when she's on her phone because she'll get mad. And so what is he supposed to do when he needs help with his homework and stuff and he can't ask anybody because his mom is just gonna get mad? So anyways, I want to conclude this video by again saying that it is important to spend time with your kids, but at what cost? Like, as we saw in that last video, yes, you're around your kids, but again, it's about quality over quantity. I cannot believe that video, and that she posted that herself. Like, who knows what else she probably says to him or to her other children or whatever, you know, behind closed doors. It's so sad to me. At that point, you have to ask, you know, at what cost? Like, yes, you get to stay home with your kids, but at what cost? You're verbally abusing them. You are consistently experiencing burnout, and you're taking out your stress and anger on your children and leaving an impression on them that will follow them all throughout adulthood. That's the question that we really have to ask ourselves. I think it's very manipulative that multi-level marketing targets stay-at-home moms specifically and convince them that this business will allow them the freedom to be an active figure in their children's lives, all while working from home and being on their phone all the time, not disclosing the fact that the business requires consistent phone interaction and eventually just consumes your entire life to where you believe that your MLM is more important than the very reason why you decided to join. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any opinions, any other ideas on stuff I should talk about, or just want to comment anything that you have on your mind, what this video made you feel, anything like that, definitely comment down below. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed. I don't really have social media right now, so it's kind of hard for me to promote my YouTube channel. If you found me organically through the YouTube spectrum, definitely subscribe. It really does help. You have no idea. Without further ado, as always, thanks for watching.